All right, guys, make it a fantastic day. I will see you guys tomorrow morning. And I'm going to turn it over here to Trish and Ruth. Take it away, guys.
Thanks, Jesse. All right. Well, good morning, everybody. Hope everybody's having an awesome day so far. And so we wanted to hop into really just a quick, short training that I think is going to be super effective. It's something we talked a little bit about on the call last night. But I know for me, this was kind of a game changer in my business when it's something I started doing. And I think Ruth can agree it was for her as well. And so what we're going to talk about today is a 3-2-1 evaluation. So really teaching you how to do a proper evaluation so that you're not sabotaging yourself with your evaluations. How many of you, just out of curiosity, when you evaluate, you tend to get judgmental with yourself and maybe aren't so nice to yourself? Anybody do that? Yeah, a lot of people. Yeah. So this training is really to prevent that from happening in your business because we want to make sure that obviously, you know, evaluation is really important, because if we can't figure out, you know, what's working, what's not working, and what things might need to change, we're never really going to be able to move forward. But it needs to be a productive one, because what we also don't want to do is just sabotage ourselves and always feel like we're failing in some way, because honestly, you have to make mistakes in order to fix things and move forward. But sometimes our mind just doesn't allow us to look at it that way. So before we dive in on it, Ruth, do you want to add any other stuff about this before we dive in? Or
I think one of the things evaluation does is it helps us move forward. And I say that because so often we stay stuck in what's familiar, even if it's not working. And sometimes we end up doing the same things over and over and over again because they're familiar and they're comfortable, but they might not be working, but we keep doing them because it's a safe place to be, right? So have you ever caught yourself doing that? Same things over and over and over again. They're not working, but you keep doing them. And that's where evaluation comes in, is it's stepping back from what we're doing and asking ourselves some questions to help us break out of what's familiar and maybe do the things that might feel a little bit uncomfortable, but are actually going to help you move your business forward. So evaluation in pretty much everything we do, even in life, is so important because it helps everything get better. So we have a 3-step process that we were taught. It can apply to your business, relationships, your ads. If you're running ads, it applies to everything, and it helps you evaluate and move out of what's familiar without beating yourself up.
yeah, and I can share with you, this is one of the things that helped Ruth and I really build the system that we built, you know, over this last year. Because even as we were putting groups together, there were ideas we had and things that we were doing that sounded really good, but when we actually started putting them into play, we realized, okay, that's not effective. That's not working. And that happens so many times, right, Ruth?
Yeah.
And this is something we still continue to do. It's something that, honestly, if you can get in the habit of doing on a daily basis, it's going to be great, but also on a weekly and monthly basis, depending on what it is that you're evaluating. And so I'm going to start with the first step, and then Ruth and I can kind of rotate through these. Yeah, okay, perfect, Carla, I just answered your question. So the very first thing you're going to do is you're going to start out with, so again, it's a 3-2-1 evaluation. So we're going to start out with the 3, and that is, we're going to name 3 things that are working. Okay, so 3 specific things that are working in your business. Now, this is where I know when I first got started, this step was very hard for me to figure out what was working. And what I've realized is over time is it can be the littlest thing, right? It doesn't have to be this big win that's working. It can be the littlest thing. You know, I look at, I'm just trying to think here, for instance, something random, the growth of our SMP group. Okay. So if I look at what's working in there, 1, we've consistently got people who are showing up into that group, new people coming in every single week, right? So 1, new people every week. 2, we've got people showing up on our live trainings every single week, which is great. 3, we've got tons of people who are participating in the group, right? So those would be 3 things specifically that are working with that group right now. And you can see none of them have to be this like huge, glorious accomplishment, but it has, you have to be able to figure out what is working. And we want to limit it to 3. And there's power, you'll find out as we go through these next couple of steps. But keeping it simple and just finding 3 good things that are working are going to help you when it comes to the next couple of steps.
And that's so important, guys, as you're building new businesses, is identifying those 3 things. And it doesn't have to be a new recruit, a new customer. It can be as simple as, I've actually blocked time in my day for the first time to do my business, or I'm actually showing up consistently on social media. I have a process in place. Those are all positive things, and they're things that are working now, right? So really evaluate what's working in your business. It doesn't have to be financial results yet. Many of you are new here, but what in terms of your processes are now working that maybe weren't working before?
That makes sense to everybody? All right, perfect. So the next one is you're going to name off 2 things that are not working. Okay. Now it's really important to only pick 2. Okay. And not to make a list of 20 things that aren't working. But if you've got more than 2 things that aren't, what are the 2 most important things that aren't working? Okay. What are the 2 that, for instance, if we use the example that Ruth had there with, okay, you're scheduling time on your social media, you're actually showing up, things like that. Okay, so maybe some things that aren't working. Okay, I'm not getting a lot of engagement yet, possibly. That's okay, right? Because that's going to be a work in process. So maybe that be 1. And 2, maybe it be that you're not consistent with your lives yet, or things like that. Because we know that consistency is key. Right? But it's really important to just narrow it down to 2 things and to not list off a million things, because what you want to do when you come out of this evaluation is you want to be able to, again, have something that's going to help you move forward, but also you want to bring out some positivity, right? Because it's super important that we're not beating ourselves up here and in that process. So really limiting it to 2 specific things that are not working. Do you want to add anything to that, Ruth?
No, I think that covers it. I mean, you can really, everyone is kind of at a different point in their business. And, maybe you're at the point where your social media is generating some traction, some engagement, and you're starting to engage back with people, but you're not able yet to get them onto a Zoom call. That could be, the next step that isn't working for you. Or maybe you're getting people on Zoom calls, but you're having difficulty closing them. So just 2 things that where you are in your business, you're kind of stuck on and it's not quite working right.
Yeah. And then the last step and the final step is really to pick one of those, or pick 1 thing that you might do differently, right? So based on what you know is working and what you know is not working, what is 1 thing that you might do differently to start yielding a different result? Okay, and just 1. And it's really important, because if you're trying to change too many things at one time, you're not going to know what worked. You're not going to know which thing was it that actually made things a little bit better. So it's important to only be changing 1 thing and implementing that to see if it starts changing results for you. Does that make sense to everybody? And I know that, this was something, Ruth and I had to really think about too, because as, you're working on goals on so many different things, sometimes it's like, oh, let me change everything up. No, you really want to figure out, what is 1 specific thing that you can change, because 1, you want to be able to see, is this going to actually tweak it enough that it's going to give me a different result? But 2, it's also got to be sustainable. If you try to do too many things at one time, you're setting yourself up for failure, right? I think about, if somebody is trying to, they've never been healthy before, they've never done anything, and all of a sudden they want to do everything right to change their lifestyle. Well, when you're trying to change your workout, you're trying to change your food, you're trying to, you know, change everything, you might be able to sustain it for a few days or a week, maybe even 2, but after that, you're going to fail because you're setting yourself up. But if you can gradually start implementing these things into your lifestyle, gradually start, you know, maybe changing one thing a week, you're going to get a much better results. It's the same thing in your business, right? Just being able to make those small changes to get yourself back on track with some things. Does that make sense? Everybody? Yeah.
And that kind of goes along with that whole concept of the compound effect, right? Making small changes over time, tweaking things over time, getting better over time. It's the compound effect that's going to get you there. But if you think you have to change everything all at once, I guarantee you'll be paralyzed and you'll stop. And it happened to me when I first started in attraction marketing. I was like, oh my gosh, my website looks awful. My funnel's not working. My ads aren't converting. I don't know how to do Facebook Lives well. I get no engagement. Ugh, I'm not going to do any of it because it's overwhelming. So just one little tweak at a time is literally what's going to move your business forward.
And that's a great point, Ruth, because that's another reason why, for those of you who've gone through our attraction challenge or some of the trainings that we have it in steps. And it's important to finish those steps before moving on to the next one, because yeah, when you're trying to do things on social media, there are a million things that you want to accomplish at one time. It's just not possible to do that. Like, you have to be able to do it in phases. And so doing that, and then, you know, evaluating and mastering as you go, and then slowly adding things. If you guys are not muted, if you could mute yourself, I'm not sure who that is. It's going to make a huge, huge difference in what you're doing. So, does anybody have any questions on that? Okay. All right. Well, Ruth, I don't have anything else for today. Do you?
I just really encourage you to evaluate what you're doing in that 3-step process, because it'll keep you moving forward. It'll keep things getting better, and you won't beat yourself up.
Yep. And you got to have productive change. Oh, Jenny, you got something?
I do have a question, not about this evaluation, but just a question. And I was going to ask Jesse, and he was on so briefly. Do we know if we have access to a downloadable version of the new Discover Secret video that we could download and say post into a group? I'm running an online party right now, and I would love to have that.
Hey, it's Jesse. Can you hear me?
Yes. Yeah.
Hold on one sec. Don't go anywhere, people. I'm gonna give you the I uploaded the raw file to my Dropbox, and I'm gonna upload copy link, and I'm going to paste it into the chat here.
That's awesome, Jesse. Thank you so much.
Jesse.
Let's see. How do I go to chat? Everybody. Boom. Boom. Ta-da. There you guys go.
All right. So the link is there, guys, if you can see that, and we'll make sure we stay on here for a few seconds so everybody can get that. And I see you've got somebody new on too, Miriam from Quebec. And thank you for joining us. I hope that we didn't speak too quickly in English for you, that you can pick up some of this. But thank you for joining us. That is great. And does anybody else have any questions regarding anything for today? No? Awesome. Well, I know we've all got plans that we're working on. You guys have sent us your plans. We've gotten the screenshots from a lot of you. If you've not sent us your rank meter from the back office, please do that. And anything that we can do to help you guys. And let's just go out and really start recruiting and do what we need to do to rise to these ranks that we want to get to. I hope everyone has an awesome day.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.
Jesse, I'm going to let you stop it because we don't see the controls on that.
Say that again.
you're going to have to end it because we don't have controls to end it.
Oh, got it. No problem. Bye, guys. Bye.
Bye.